Hi, everybody. My name is Jorge. Thank you so much for joining us for our first of our community conversations. Mina, Natalia, and I were talking a few weeks ago about ways that we can better connect with our CCHI community and with each other. And we thought, what better way to do it than doing a short video chat? So welcome. For those of you who are watching, who may not know each of us, let's do a quick round of introductions first to get started, and I'll go first. My name is Jorge Ungo. I've been a CCHI commissioner for 5 years, and I live in Houston, Texas. In addition to my work with CCHI, I'm an account executive for Language Line Solutions. Mina?
Hello, everyone. My name is Mina Kini. I should also say namaste. As you can tell, I am originally from India and consider myself to be a new American, like many of us on the call. I am in St. Louis, Missouri, and work for a healthcare system which is based in 4 states. And it has been my honor to work with CCHI for 5 years as well. How about you, Valerie?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Valerie. Like Mina mentioned, I actually was born and raised in Taiwan, and this is my new home. I'm joining everybody from Columbus, Ohio. During the day, I work for a pediatric hospital. It's called Nationwide Children's Hospital. We are one of the top 10 hospitals, standing alone children's hospital. And I was really fortunate enough to work with a group of talents with CCHI commissioners, and I joined CCHI probably a little bit over a year ago. How about Eliana?
I'm in the same class as Mina and Jorge. I've been a CCHI commissioner for 5 years. Bom dia a todos. I'm Brazilian. I am currently in the state of Washington and the city of Tacoma, which is fabulous. You have to come when we can start traveling again. And I've worked many positions as a supervisor and trainer and manager of interpreters, particularly healthcare interpreters, and work now pretty much from home and developing training material and teaching courses in medical interpreting and facilitating webinars through Home for Trainers. That is umbrellaed by the National Council on Interpreting in Healthcare. And I'm just really happy to be here with all you guys today because, like everybody else, I miss seeing my friends and colleagues. So,
absolutely. Thank you so much, Eliana, and thank you, all three of you, for joining us today for this first conversation. At CCHI, we've certainly seen our fair share of changes this year. So in May, we began online CoreCHI testing to really help interpreters who wanted to continue down their certification path but needed to do so in a safe and distant manner. We'll likely be restarting that online testing here in the winter, so stay tuned to our social media as we announce how those changes will be implemented. Our commissioner meetings this year took a virtual turn. We ended up meeting virtually in April and then again in October, and that was just a great opportunity to reconnect with each other and get to see each other, even though we just enjoy being around each other so much when we have those in-person meetings. But it's great that with the advent of teleconferencing that we're able to do things like that. And we also had to extend our E2E testing window because of COVID. So now that that's been completed, our executive director, Natalia Mitareva, will be presenting on those preliminary findings tomorrow at the TAHIT Symposium, and then again at the Interpreter Education Online Conference on December 1st. So a lot going on at CCHI. COVID certainly hasn't put a pause button on our progress, and we're grateful to Natalia for her leadership through all of that. Definitely a remarkable year. Yes, a remarkable year. Our lives, all of our lives have certainly changed considerably. So before we get started and kind of continue this conversation, I just want to check in with each of you to see how you, your families, your coworkers are doing during these crazy times. What has changed? What's still the same? Let's start with you, Eliana.
This has been a really challenging year. They assign point levels to life changes like adult children moving back in with you or having to change cities or homes and move or pivot career-wise. I feel like so many of us have been forced into that given the coronavirus situation, but all of that has also happened to me. So as we were talking just before we got online, I feel like I'm trying to present that nice, calm little duck floating on the water, but underneath your feet are churning, churning, churning. It's been busier this year than I've ever been, but I've interpreted as a healthcare interpreter less this year than I've ever interpreted since 1980. So I'm teaching a lot more, and I'm also teaching things that I didn't used to teach, like ESL, and because I'm trying to get more people with English as a second language trained and funneled into a healthcare interpreter training program at the local community college, which at least is a certificate program that's 1 year long and pushes us past that 40-hour minimum to send better prepared people to sit for the national certification exam. So that's the overall trajectory, with all the crazy stuff of moving house and having a 38-year-old back. But you know, that's how it goes.
That's awesome. Good. I'm glad to hear you're doing well, Eliana. Valerie, how about you? How are things going in Ohio?
Okay, so for me, 2020 definitely is a year of challenging day and change. So at work, our operations have to shift to remote interpreting, but I'm really fortunate that we are able to have everybody still working. We did not go through work from home. However, all our staff interpreters are working from our office, and then so that way, if any given moment that they are needed on site, they can put on their PPE and then arrive at the clinical site to provide services on site. So the upsides, start with the downsides that, a lot of interpreters used to go on site. There's a lot of face-to-face interactions, and then we're missing a lot of that connection, human connections. The upside is that everybody working in the same office, we feel very, very connected. So our team spirits was much, much better ever than ever. So that's really something I always think that crisis, and a lot of people say we are in crisis. My background is we speak Chinese, so in Chinese, a lot of people probably know I'm gonna say it's the crisis in Chinese is consists of two characters. It's one word, it's danger, and another word is opportunity. So I found that a lot of us in this profession, we are able to change and then take the moment and shift into opportunity and to move on to continue to provide services for our community. So that's something that I feel like our team very, very feel proud of, that we can continue to provide services. For myself, I found myself have to continue and then consistently practice self-compassion. Pack your bag, live in the moment, take a deep breath. I remember when March, when everything started to shift, I worked literally average, I think 55 to 60 hours a week. Jorge probably know that. And then it's just like non-stop working, and then make sure that we can continue to provide services. So that's a bright side, that you live in the moment and now you look back and then feel like, wow, we have achieved a lot. So again, crisis generate opportunity. We also took a lot of advantage of, and I want to make sure everybody know that CCHI actually provide discount for your new renewal fee. So a lot of medical interpreters I know, including myself, I took advantage of a lot of virtual conferences and then also webinars. So a lot of interpreters, my team, we finished our renewal within this couple months. So that's a nutshell of what our life lived in this past couple months, and then probably more couple months to go. So
and
with
that's
that, Yeah,
Yeah.
Mina, yes.
Yeah, that was a good observation, crisis and opportunity. And as you said, CCHI lives in that in terms of helping support individuals who are experiencing that with different services. So I think that's important to note. And that word fits me really well. I lived between those two, boundaries, that guardrail of crisis and
Yeah.
opportunity. So
Yes.
my work is in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space. And when this happened and the initial COVID related responses, et cetera, started happening, when we started looking at how it affects populations differently, one of the underpinnings that we were, as an organization, we were trying to do is look and identify what are the opportunities to provide support to our clinician and the frontline essential workers. So my work shifted into wellness, into well-being. And that's the other piece. I think even CCHI and the interpreting industry overall focused on that. So CCHI, along with the National Council and many other partners, we put together a document which touches on how do you keep yourself safe as an interpreter in the field. How do you respond to COVID if you have to be in place, in a physically in person in a place? So those are important pieces, and self-care was, I think, a critical piece. So in the opportunity, I think, all of us as a country and as the world, we've learned to find that silver lining of how do we measure our gratitude? How do we look at self-care, care of people that are most important to us, family, friends, co-workers, people in our community? And then learning new skills. I mean, who would have thought that we would be doing a conversation like this, right? And with people watching and participating. So that's, I think, the opportunity we have. And for those of people who have joined in this conversation, you have an opportunity as well, because CCHI, we are constantly trying to learn and listen. So we have Facebook and many other modes where you could communicate with us, because one of our internal conversations has been around how do we help support our family, our community of interpreters, in finding that opportunity, staying safe, staying well. And so please use our channels and communicate with us on social media, because I think that's how we build our and strengthen our community. Jorge, do you have any thoughts, and how have you been feeling in this,
Oh my gosh.
crisis opportunity window?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, it's been a lot, it's been a lot personally, with, trying to balance safety and family, and, wanting to be close to family members, but not being able to do so as frequently as we did before. And, really just, I think we've all kind of been through this continuum, or this evolution of our comfort level with what we're facing and what we're dealing with, right? So I'm not wiping down my groceries anymore, but still, maintaining my distance, and still trying to, live my life, and dealing with the isolation. I think anybody who knows me and knows has been around me knows that I feed off of the energy of other people, and it's hard to get that energy through these little screens, and so the moments that I do have to connect with folks, and do so safely, really invigorate me, and I'm looking forward to seeing an end to this, or at least a light at the end of the tunnel, so that we can start to have those moments together, and really inspired, because we've had some really great conversations at CCHI about this conversation, and about ongoing conversations, and how we can really build a sense of community through these channels. So I'm excited to see that flourish, and to see how it takes form. We can contribute a lot to the interpreting community with education, but I think we can also contribute a lot by creating the sense of community with our family, with our chosen family members, our interpreting family. So with all that being said, Mina, you said a word that struck a chord with me, which is gratitude. It's important that we're all constantly expressing gratitude, but we have a very important holiday coming up, a holiday where traditionally is one spent in expressing our gratitude. And so I want to just kind of pretend like we're not in the middle of a pandemic. Pretend like, the uncertainty of whether or not we're even going to be able to celebrate Thanksgiving with our families is not even there. That's not even a thought. Tell me about what is your favorite thing about Thanksgiving? And I'll start with you, Valerie. What is your favorite Thanksgiving tradition?
Together with family. So I want to kind of share a little bit the background I'm coming from in terms of Thanksgiving. Internationally, some people don't really know what exactly the origin of Thanksgiving. However, it's the spirit of giving thanks. So I grew up in Taiwan and I know about Thanksgiving, but I never know what was the origin. But we appreciate that time that and I particularly love it because it's close to the end of the years. And then it's the perfect time to give thanks, to have a reflections, and then to share that the gratitude. And I really love that words. That's my favorite words. In my hometown in Taiwan, I remember that you can see that during Thanksgiving seasons, you can see that, oh, there's a restaurant is offering food, so it's about meal. I love it. So it's more like, oh, we are offering Thanksgiving feast and you can enjoy with your family. So for me, holidays are all about spending time with your loved ones together. And then I also want to mention something that it may not be easy now, but with a lot of technology. And that's I live here more than 20 years, and my family are still in Taiwan. So we found a way to keep connected. So anyway, so for my family here in the United States, I found out that it's very easy for life to get in the way. You can always say, oh, we can do this sometimes next time, next year. But this year really, really get me thinking, I don't want to wait anymore. Just do it now. And holiday is really actually a time for you to allow you to have time off from work or school for kids, of course, in order to spend time with your family. For my family, it does not need to be a feast. It does not have to be a big meal. Basically, we just like to enjoy the time together. Even just going out grocery shopping, we're happy for that. In terms of family, it's one blessing we have during current time we live in. It's a technology that we have online tools like what we're doing now, and a lot of apps that you can stay connect with your family abroad. So I've been spending every week. I call my mom, my parents, my sisters. We all connected with apps. So I never feel like we are disconnected. So this is a really great emphasize that family is very important, especially during this special difficult time. But definitely this year, it's gonna be no travel to visit your extended family at all, just to make sure that we are all safe. So how about Eliana? I want to learn something from you, how you celebrate holiday.
Similar to you, Valerie, there is no Thanksgiving in Brazil, but I'm half Italian, Beni Coracini Marchesini. And boy, did we appreciate having a holiday that's centered around food. I had to remind my family when the date was. They know it was November, but they can never figure out when Thanksgiving was exactly. And then moms and aunts and grandmother would start cooking days before, because in their minds, like most Brazilians, any holiday that falls near a weekend is holiday week. And you're going to cook for the week and have lots of friends and family over and make sure they go home with a nice antipasto plate. So that was a very easy one to incorporate. But winding back to what you mentioned earlier, Mina, who knew at the time that my family structure restructured itself, that I would be so happy to at least be able to have one of my kids at the Thanksgiving table. That would not have happened otherwise if he wasn't part of my little nuclear family unit now, once again.
Yeah,
So,
and that's what even I'm thankful for, because I have my son back home from school, from college. So Yes, and for me, Thanksgiving has been similar. You mentioned family, you mentioned food as well, Eliana, and I want to add another F to that. So it makes it three Fs. That's friends. Because of being a new American, I don't have my immediate family here. They are spread across the US. So it's Friendsgiving. So we have had a tradition of Friendsgiving. So in addition, this year, I think with the three Fs, Friendsgiving, friends or family, my own family, and food, I'm going to add the other word, which is Z, Zoom. Going back to what you said, so this year is going to be a Zoom based Thanksgiving, and I
Ah.
suspect, we won't be visiting, but again, around food, and have to figure out some eclectic ways of cooking something new. What are
This
you
has
doing,
been
Jorge?
great. Well, my family does an annual destination Thanksgiving. We've been to Mexico, Guatemala. We've been to Memphis, Tennessee. We've been to Marfa, Texas. And it's just a great opportunity for my mom to get all the boys together for 3 or 4 days and have a little mini vacation together. And we have such a good time. And so we're going to do that very mini this year. We're not going anywhere, but we'll still get to see each other and have our meal together. But we're planning a big trip for 2021. So I'll keep y'all posted how that pans out.
Right.
Before we go, I just want to extend a big virtual hug to our 2 new commissioners, Vanessa and Zoe. We can't wait to have both of them join us. And they've already joined our first commissioner meeting in October. So hopefully we'll have them on one of these conversations. And also a big, huge shout out to Idaly, our new chair. Idaly, we love you. You're so supportive. I think you sent all of us a text message a few minutes ago, right before we got started. So we just can't wait to be working with you in this new role. And look, we're going to plan another one of these really, really soon. So stay tuned.
Before Jorge, before we, for those of our commission, our certificates who are on this call, it might be great if you thought that this was helpful, to like one of the CCHI posts where we have talked about this. So then that gives us a good gauge that, you like it, and we'll do more of this and bring you message and information from CCHI, a little bit about ourselves, and build this conversation. So I would like our group to do that too.
Absolutely. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Have a
wonderful,
wonderful holiday.
Thank you.